What's on your mind, King?
All right. So the last time we had a discussion, we kind of talked about how the choices we make in life, and how everything is a choice, and that you're an active participant in everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whether you're aware of the choices that you made or not, you still made a choice, right?
Yes.
That led into being able to recognize in a moment when things happen, especially in a manner that you don't like, and they trigger something inside of us that maybe get us in a aroused emotional state,
Mm-hmm.
that our ability to be able to take that occurrence and put it on a timeline of your life and measure it objectively and see, like, okay, how much space and how much time does this occupy? And if you can objectively measure that, you can say,
Yes.
well, it took up my whole day. Well, if you calculate that by the days of
Mm.
the years of your life that you've been alive, that one day
Yes.
is like,
It's nothing.
eh,
Yes.
right? And did it really take up your whole day? Because there's 24 hours in the day, and you slept probably about 8 of
Eight
those,
hours. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it didn't really take up your whole day. It just took up X amount of hours
Mm-hmm.
in one of your days, of the many days that you've been alive. So if you're able to kind of quantify things in that nature, then you can be able to put it in its proper perspective, like, this is just a moment, right?
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
we've already established, that moments are like every other moments.
Yes.
They will pass.
Come and go.
They will pass. So, those were just my reiterating reflections,
Mm-hmm.
throughout my day today.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, no, that is beautiful. I mean, especially the part that you were saying, we are all active participants of whatever decision we'll make. I think that definitely helped me in making my own decision for the day,
Yeah.
right? Where it was like, well, whatever someone did or I perceive they did to me, well, I mean, yeah, they made a decision, but I'm part of that decision also
Yes.
in the way I react to it,
Yes.
in the way everything even set up to it, right? Because like the discussion we had earlier, right? Everyone had the choice to either go left or right.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, you either choose to go left or right. I chose to become, establish a relationship with whoever it is, become friends. Is my choice at the end of the day, right? So
Yes.
whatever the outcome is, I'm an active participant in that. And like you say, it's just a moment in however, long I have on this earth. It's just a
Yes.
moment. I'm going through a moment, or I just went through this moment, and it doesn't
Yes.
last long. And a
Yes.
lot of people try to just stay in that moment forever, try to
Ah,
like love the feeling it generates, right? But yeah, that moment comes and go, and
yeah.
that doesn't define who you are.
No,
Mm.
right. Yeah, and similarly, like, when I came to this understanding, I was having a moment, right? Personal
Yes.
moment based on something someone did. And as I processed through that day, I literally just told myself, I said, wait a minute, man, like, this is just a moment, and it's gonna pass. And just like you said, I don't have to stay here. I don't have to let it define me.
Yes.
Breathe. One, two, three, let it go. All right, on to
Mm-hmm.
the next moment. And interestingly enough, I think I spent the rest of that day and just reflecting, at how I was able to coach myself and process in the moment to be able to move out of that space into another moment, right? To another space. And I think, I was looking back at the timeline of my life, because I was measuring the moment against the timeline of my life.
Yes.
And, sometimes I'll preface what I'm about to say with this, that sometimes when things happen to us and the choices we make, especially the choices we make of yesteryear, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's very easy sometimes to look back at your choices and be like, man, if I would have done it over, I would have done it better.
Yes.
Or, if
Yes.
I had a chance to do over or take this back, or,
Yes.
and we forget, like, those moments, and we still relive some of those moments from our past and not move on from them,
Mm.
not forgiving ourselves,
Yes.
and still kind of recycling the same type of energy from those moments from
Mm.
yesteryears, right? And applying them to your life today, not
Today.
knowing was just a moment, right?
Yes, yes,
And so when I spent the day reflecting, and I'm looking like, a actual picture of a time, of a period and timeline in my life came across my view.
yeah.
And I looked at the picture, and immediately it took me back to that timeline, right?
Mm.
Years ago. And I started to like praise the heavens. Like, man, I'm glad that like there's some things happened during that
Yes,
time,
yes,
and at the time I didn't like them,
yes.
and I didn't, and I remember it being kind of emotionally connected to that situation for a few years before I
Mm.
was able to process the emotional skills, get their emotional skills to process and move past it.
Yes.
But I looked and I was like, and the current me was like, whew, thank
Thank
you.
God. Wow.
Because what life would be like today had I had those occurrences never happened.
Mm-hmm.
And that's literally what I was, like I got attached to. And I had to like live my life with that
Yes.
moving forward. Now, like, whoa, no, 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 right?
Yes.
So I'm
Yes.
like, yeah, in the moment, in moments and times that things are happening to you, which we rephrase and say, no, they're happening for
For
you.
you. Yes.
If you, I think if every individual was to actually self-examine the timeline of their life
Mm-hmm.
and look and say, yeah, you may be reliving a moment energetically, like emotionally, currently. But if you go back and look at it, where it impacts on the timeline of your life, you could probably see, like, man, if that didn't happen
Mm.
and things didn't, occur, right,
Yes.
to move you into this uncomfortable state, right,
Yes.
that
Yes.
you think it's a trauma or a trigger, but really it's like I was actually rescuing you from this
Rescue.
relationship, this job,
Oh
this
boy.
environment,
Yes.
like
Yes.
what, like, right, like laundry list of like that's where your life could have literally ended.
Yes. Yes.
And let me be a little bit more explicit, right? It's like, have you ever looked at, let's just say, a person, right?
Mm.
That maybe you were once in a relationship with, friendship, years ago, right? Like
Oh boy.
years ago.
Yes.
And then, maybe look at the conditions of their life now. And now when I say relationship, I'm talking about like, it could have been a friendship,
Yes.
right? Like
Yes.
this is serious talk because
Yes.
like, again, for personal example, there are friends, like people that I had that, hey, that's my best friend, this is my ace, right? Like we,
Mm-hmm.
hand and foot. And life happened, right? Set us on different trajectories. And when I currently check up on, look at the state, like, oh man, this person's in prison, man, this person's
Mm.
dead,
Mm.
this person's not really doing so good, right?
Yeah.
But the emotional connection that I had with that person back then was like, man, I thought this was gonna be my ace forever.
Mm-hmm.
How can they do this to me? And what, how can, and break up this friendship and this relationship that we had,
Yes. Yes.
and then it's like, fast forward, all right, now let's take a look. Okay, this is why, because potentially by proximity, birds of a feather,
Yes.
would have been
Yes.
either laying right there
Mm-hmm.
or locked up over there,
Yes.
or right, like, you know reciprocating the same thoughts, feelings, and emotions and actions in this environment and never change, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you'd be still living on the same block you grew up in.
Man. No, that is beautiful. I mean, that is amazing. The way you put it. Because if you look at it this way, right, it's going back to everything we've been saying. Number one, like everything is created for you to succeed in this
Yes.
world, right? Like you are special, you are amazing, and the world, the universe, listens to your desire, right? And then number two was like we don't make mistakes. We create learning opportunities, and just using this right here is like, wait, so everything that happened in my life was a learning opportunity
Mm-hmm.
for me,
Yes.
right? To save, because if you look back, like you said, with the relationships and everything, geez, like there are a lot of relationships, man, in my life, especially, for me personally, I'll speak for myself. You know, I love people. I'm a people person. I love, just having a relationship with everyone. People that again, that are good to me, I'm good to them and everything. And, like you said, some of them is like, okay, some to some extent will plan everything. Yeah, when I buy a house, you're gonna buy a house right here by my side. You're gonna have a
Yeah.
car. Yeah, okay, what kind of car you gonna have? This, that. Okay, yeah, we're gonna work in this office. We'll plan everything, right? Thinking like you said, right or die.
Yeah.
And then just recently, we were having that discussion. We're like, man, I can't believe I had this thought, about this situation
Yes.
with this person. Like, that is so, oh my goodness, right? Because you look at like where that person is and the way your life is, like, wow, whatever happened at the moment it was happening, I was not comfortable with that.
Yes.
It was like, man, how would you hurt me like this, man? How would you do this to me, right?
Yes.
But to come around and look at it is like, no, thank you very much for what you did. I needed that for my life because you
Yes.
were saving me,
Yes.
not causing me pain, not causing me any sadness or whatever, right?
Yes.
So if you
Yes.
take a look at this in your life, man, again, learning opportunities, everything is designed for it to succeed, and you just look back, you're like, wait a minute, where I am now in my life, everything happened for me to be here, for me to just have this amazing success in my life. So that is truly beautiful.
Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like this video, make sure to check out the rest of our videos on Deadly Fit Bodies.